Hey everybody, welcome back to the DCL Duo vlog. We're here at the pool at the Grand Californian, and fittingly enough, we wanted to talk about our dinner experience from a couple nights ago, where we ate at the chef's table at the Napa Rose. So let's start off with the sort of the particulars. So the chef's table is a separate experience within Napa Rose, which Napa Rose is the signature dining restaurant location at the Grand Californian. They serve, I would say, like California, like fusion kind of cuisine.
Farm to table style, really fresh ingredients, really, high end ingredients. It's definitely one of the nicer restaurants on Disney property here in Disneyland Resort.
So one of the experiences you can have there is to eat at the chef's table, and basically what they have is a counter set up around the kitchen with four seats apiece. One of them, or maybe two of them, are actually kind of closer to the dessert prep area, and then one of them kind of looks directly into the kitchen. Excuse me. We sat right next, actually, to the pass where the chef and the executive chef and the sous chef were sort of monitoring the dishes as they come in and out, and had a chance to talk with the sous chef and the executive chef during the evening.
We were also at a spot where they were plating a lot of the appetizer dishes. So right in front of us, they would plate. For example, there was a kind of a crudo dish that they were plating right in front of us.
Yeah. So let's go in the order here. So like the chef's table is a separate reservation. They do a couple seatings a night. You have to call ahead to book it. It books out, so if you want to do it, there's literally only 12 spots. So you definitely want to call in advance if you're interested in doing it. It's a set price menu for the evening, so you don't choose your dishes. After you're seated, the chef or executive chef will come and sort of talk to you about food you like, things you don't like. The couple next to us were vegan. We don't love
vegetarian.
We don't love olives. It's that kind of stuff. She asked if we liked raw fish or not, game, like duck and lamb, that kind of stuff. So they're trying to tailor a menu to you individually. They're not just sort of serving you dishes that they happen to be making in the restaurant that evening. There's also an opportunity to do a wine pairing with dinner, which we did, and the sommelier said it averaged out to about 2 glasses of wine. I don't think that's true. I think it averaged out to like 2 glasses of, like, if you filled the glass from stem to top, maybe
more
2
like
glasses.
4 glasses of wine, probably total.
So it was a lot
over
of wine.
5 courses.
It was a lot of wine for us. We used to drink a lot more wine. We don't now, so it was a lot of wine for us. But then once you've had that sort of interview moment, they bring around an amuse-bouche, and dinner kind of kicks off. So the first course that we had,
the amuse-bouche was a goat cheese panna cotta with a berry compote over it. It was in sort of a glass, maybe a little bit bigger than like a shot glass, a little bit rounded. It presentation was really pretty. We both got the same amuse-bouche. It came with a little tiny spoon, and I thought it was delicious. It was, I'm not usually a panna cotta fan, but it was really quite good. Goat cheese gave it a lot of flavor, and the berry kind of gave it the acidity it needed to balance the dish, so it wasn't just creamy.
Yeah, and so we started there. I thought that dish was delicious as well. Then sort of out came the first kind of course for us. Sam, you had the salmon. I had scallops and shrimp with fava bean puree, and it was paired with a Pinot Gris wine. I'll say it was delicious. The scallops and shrimp, everything was cooked perfectly. I thought the dish was kind of like nice and light and bright, and the fava bean gave it a nice flavor. So there was a really good dish. We have pictures, by the way, of a lot of these dishes, and we'll either post a link to Instagram or post a link to the photos so you can kind of see what the food looks like. I mean, it's obviously plated, in a gorgeous way. So, so we did. That was my first dish. The wine pairing went very well with it. I always think it's interesting when you taste a wine for the first time, and you're like, oh, the wine's okay, and then you have the food, and it really kind of improves. And so, I'd say that was the case with the wines throughout the evening. So,
Absolutely.
Sam, what did you think of the salmon you had?
The salmon was wonderful. I had a Pinot Blanc with my salmon, and the salmon was kind of crispy skin, so it was cooked where the skin was on top. It was a nice, not a huge piece of salmon because it's an appetizer portion. It was really cooked perfectly. It was on top of some quinoa, and there was citrus slaw, I want to call it. So it was a lot of orange flavors. It was really kind of a perfectly balanced dish. Went really nicely with the wine. I would give it a 2 thumbs up. It was really good.
So then we move on to our second course, which Sam, you had a spicy filet salad with a lobster and crab fritter with greens, and it was paired with a Vouvray wine, and I think that might have been one of your favorite dishes of the evening.
Oh my god, it was so incredible. So the chef came over after and we were talking to him about this dish because I love this dish so much, and he said it had been inspired by a really bad dish he had had at a Thai restaurant called Crying Tiger.
Crying tiger salad.
Crying
yes.
Tiger salad. So it was kind of greens and these crispy fritters, as Brian mentioned, but
He said it's called crying. He asked his staff why it was called crying tiger salad, and they told him because the beef is so tough it makes the tiger cry.
So apparently the beef, at least the way it's traditionally done, is cut with the grain instead of against the grain. Anyway, it was done with filet, and so there was like the little pieces of filet underneath the salad, and with this like really amazing sauce that had a really nice kick to it. It was so good. Honestly, that was probably my favorite course of the evening.
And then I had like a fluke fish crudo, which was very delicious, plated very pretty. It had lots of capers and acid and just lots of kind of little tiny elements to the dish. We got to watch them plate that right in front of us, and it was fascinating because the chef actually sent the first plate back with a directive to add more of the crudo, and so then another chef had to come over and sort of carefully reorchestrate and replate the dish. But it was good. It was sort of a very nice crudo. It was fluke fish, which I haven't had that way before. We're big sushi eaters, so I'm fairly adventurous when it comes to kind of raw fishes, but the crudo was delicious. The wine pairing was nice for that course as well.
It was really beautiful to watch them plate this dish. We watched them plate it not just for Brian, but for a number of other customers at that station right in front of us. It was pretty cool to see how meticulous they were, even with the little leaves of whatever they were putting on it.
Yeah, if the dish had sat too long, they like scrapped all the leaves because they were starting to turn brown, and they put new ones on there. So it was a good dish. I then, for my next course, I had duck with kind of I want to call it like a citrus salsa or something along those lines. I thought it was good. I'm not, so I like duck, but I don't tend to like duck the way they prepare it at fine dining because it's a little too raw for my tastes. Yeah, I don't like it as rare as they tend to want to serve it, and I'd say that was the case for me this time around. The dish was lovely. I still ate it. It was delicious, but it was also had a lot of fat to it. And normally, what I like to see is that they've like caramelized that or it's crisped up in some way, and that wasn't the case here because it was so rare. But it was still delicious. Don't get me wrong. It was still a great dish. It would hold a candle to most other food I've had. So it was really really good, and the wine pairing again was nice. I think he paired it with a Pinot Noir.
Yes, it was a Russian River Pinot Noir.
Which we're both fans of Pinot Noir because I went to college in Oregon, and there's a great Pinot Noir growing in Oregon. So it was a really nice wine. It was a lovely wine. So yeah, and then Sam, you had...
Well, first I was served with a Bourgogne Pinot Noir, so I thought I was going to be getting maybe a lamb or maybe a duck. And then all of a sudden they came with a different wine because the chef apparently changed his mind about what I was going to eat. So I got a Rioja, a Faustino Rioja, which was more of a spicy red wine. It was a delicious wine. But then my course came out, and it was a agnolotti. So it was kind of like a ravioli, but kind of a rectangular shape. It had spinach in it. It had mushrooms, and then it was served with a chicken bolognese sauce. It was really delicious, and the wine held up nicely to the red sauce. I think the Pinot Noir would not have held up well. Although the Pinot Noir that they did serve me, I did still get to drink. So they left it with me, so I had 2 wines. But the Pinot Noir did not go with the dish. The Rioja did. Anyway, it was a delicious dish. Not as good as the one just prior, the Crying Tiger dish, but really, really good.
And so then we moved on to kind of our last course, the main course, I suppose. And so I got a steak and mashed potatoes. And it was a perfectly cooked steak. The mashed potatoes were delicious. It was nice, full-bodied Cabernet served with it. The waiter who was pairing the wine said that chef was sending me one of his favorites. So, steak and mashed potatoes, you can't go wrong. I actually told the chef I was desperately hoping he was going to send me a steak, and he did. I eat more adventurous food a lot of the time, but was just really feeling like a steak might be a great thing. we saw a number of small side dishes of mac and cheese go out of the kitchen last night, and we're going to have a review on Steakhouse 55 coming up as well. And I'll tell you, the spoiler alerts: the mac and cheese from Steakhouse 55 is amazing. We'll talk a little bit about that there, but. Saw the mac and cheese going out of the kitchen at Napa Rose. Was sort of like, I wish maybe I'd gotten the mac and cheese with my steak, but it was probably for the best because that meal was pretty heavy already. But I thought it was delicious. And Sam, what did you have?
So I also had Cabernet Sauvignon, although a different one, and I also had steak, although a different one. So Brian's, I think, was more of a strip loin or New York or something like that cut. Mine was a petite filet, but it was on top of a bed of sort of barbacoa braised beef as well, and then it had a lot of Cuban flavors. So it was a Cuban inspired dish. It had some sort of yellow raisins, some I think it was pine nuts. Anyway, delicious flavors. Not something I'm used to having. I'm also a big steak eater, but it was not your normal sort of grilled filet with mashed potatoes or au gratin or something like that. It was definitely a really different, interesting dish.
So what I found interesting about this dish in particular was that, so Sam had me taste a bite of hers, and I think it speaks to their effort to try and tailor a menu to each guest. I really did not like her dish as much as I liked the one that they had sent me, and so I think that might speak to. Sorry, they're rolling a cart of towels by. That might speak to how well they're trying to be attuned to the kind of flavors and interests of the guests that they have. I really liked my steak. I probably wouldn't have eaten Sam's. It just wasn't my cup of tea, and so I thought, that may speak to the sort of the effort they're undertaking there. Skip ahead to the last course. We had dessert, and so I'll quickly talk about mine. It was a chocolate. It might have even been chocolate peanut butter tort. I think it was served with a very lovely tawny port. Port was good on its own. The chocolate dessert was wonderful. So it was good dessert, good wine. But Sam had sort of the star of the show for her. And again, I think this speaks to their effort to sort of figure out what you like and bring that to you. She absolutely loved her dessert. So.
Yeah. So I got it. They gave me an ice wine. I'm actually not a really big fan of dessert wines in general. The ice wine was good. I didn't finish it though because it's like I said, it's just not my cup of tea. But they gave me this cheesecake, and I put a cheesecake in quotations because it was there. It was actually served to our neighbors, the vegans, as well. It was made with coconut milk, so none of it was actually made with cow's milk. It was this beautiful coconut cheesecake. It didn't taste real cheesy, but it definitely tasted really creamy and delicious. And I love cheesecake, but I'm not lactose intolerant, but I'm certainly lactose sensitive. And this dish was sort of a perfect replacement for a real cheesecake because it was as delicious as most cheesecakes, with the exception of maybe Junior's cheesecake in New York. But really wonderful and easy on my stomach. So I would say it was an excellent dish. I was really happy with it. The wine, again, the ice wine was a nice complement to it, although ice wines are very sweet, so you have to really be in the mood for it.
Yeah, so I think overall it was a great dinner. I think one thing that we didn't mention, the chef at Napa Rose, the executive chef at Napa Rose, it was Andrew.
Don't remember his last name.
Yeah, I'm horrible. I'm horrified that I'm forgetting his name. It was super lovely and talked to us throughout the evening. He is also the executive chef at for Carthay Circle and
21
Royal. And after eating at the chef's table at Napa Rose, I can safely say, we've eaten at Carthay Circle, delicious. Napa Rose, delicious. So now life goal is to find 12 or 15. I think it's 12 or 15 people to do this, extravagant.
It's a private dinner, though.
It's a $15,000 private dinner at 21 Royal. So, but he hinted that he couldn't tell us anything about it, what dinner was like over there. He wasn't allowed to talk about it, so it only piques my interest more because the food at Napa Rose was delicious. I think it will be hard now for us to eat at Napa Rose and not eat at the chef's table. We sort of started at the pinnacle. We've never just eaten at Napa Rose. We kind of went straight to the top of the mountain on this one. So we'll have to go back and try just, the regular dining. Based on what we saw coming out of the kitchen, the detail that the chef was constantly sending things back, telling people to redo things, testing temperature, looking for, good plating. So every dish coming out of that kitchen looked like it was meticulously done. And so I have a feeling, whether you want to go to the chef's table or not, you're going to have a fantastic meal there. I think we should try the regular dining at some point to see what that's like.
I want to say one more thing, Brian, about the experience, because I think this is really unique. In most restaurants, you don't get to see the behind the scenes of the chef kind of chastising their staff. At the chef's table, you do have that experience. So if it's something that makes you uncomfortable, don't do the chef's table.
So this isn't Gordon Ramsay.
No.
This isn't Hell's Kitchen or anything like that.
But I think it's really interesting to see, because it reaffirms that I could not work in a kitchen, because you are sometimes in the middle of plating something or making dishes, and you're really sort of backed up, and then you have your boss telling you you're doing a really crappy job,
and we saw him do it a couple times.
and so you really have to have thick skin to work in a kitchen. I thought that was really interesting to see up close and personal, but it reaffirms I was not meant to work in a kitchen.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just sort of interesting from the standpoint of, the level of quality that they were driving out of that kitchen, and the fact that like the executive chef is standing there. He oversees 3 restaurants, one of which is arguably, much higher caliber than the one he's overseeing potentially, 21 Royal. But he's there, and he's personally overseeing the dishes. We have friends who own restaurants, and the executive chef is typically kind of perched at the newest restaurant, and the other restaurants he's turned control over to a sous chef or an executive stand-in kind of thing to drive the menus and the planning. But he was there and overseeing it.
The chef de cuisine usually.
Yeah, chef de cuisine. So he was.
Chef de cuisine was there as well.
Yeah, so
she was kind of scary too.
Yes, I'm just really trying to find the name of the chef. He just goes by Chef Andrew on the website. So, Chef Andrew, it was a wonderful meal. Thank you. Thank you for all of you out there watching. And if you like this video, please click subscribe so you get the new videos as they come out. Like and comment on the video. And you can also subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts or most major podcast providers, including Stitcher, Pocket Cast, those sorts of providers. You can also join like and follow us on social media. We're at DCL Duo on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So thanks everybody, and we'll have more reviews as we go. And if you're interested in sort of giving us your feedback about your dining experiences at Napa Rose or elsewhere, feel free to reach out. You can email us at dclduo@gmail.com. Thanks everybody.
Bye.